So on this installment of the muscle truck build, we build our own intake tube out of like aluminum. Like I welded that together. That's freaking awesome. And then also a catch can system. Let's go. To make my catch can system work, because I just want to vent it to atmosphere, I picked up two brand new driver's side valve covers. I could have probably reused and cleaned up the stock one that's on that one, but I'd rather just get two brand new ones. They're only like $55 a piece. It's kind of a lot, but kind of not really when you consider that I'm not going to have any downtime with the truck whatsoever, and I can mess around with this. So first thing I want to do is cut these little vents off and then weld in a 10AN bung in order to hook up all my lines. The one downfall to this kind of setup though is every time you got to change your oil though, you got to pop a valve cover off to fill it up. Not a big deal for me. I mean, it might be for some people, but this is just an easier way, and it saves you a ton of money on buying like those Motion Raceworks ones. Those are really slick, the ones that bolt on. Or, you got to drill your holes out, but then you got to buy different valve covers for that. And then you're in it for like $500-$600. And I just didn't want to do that. So I think this is going to be a slick setup once I get these welded in, them cleaned up, and then painted the right color with some nice ICT brackets for the coils. It'll look pretty. So let's get to it. Let's slice this off and groove it out to fit this bung. So yeah, I basically just cut the old nipple off and made it flush, and then used a variety of like little die grinder bits with my Dremel in order to shape it out after marking out how big I wanted to make this go. It's a nice flush fit. Should vent those crankcase pressure gases out nicely. So now I just gotta tack weld this aluminum up and then fully weld it in. I am no TIG welder whatsoever. I literally just got that machine and I am learning, so this might turn out really crappy, but we're gonna find out together. I'm gonna do a few practice runs on some test cards, and then I'm gonna weld that up. I'm almost afraid to show you this, but this is like my test cards, and at the end I got really comfortable with it, but then all of a sudden you throw a curve in at an angle and I did terrible. That looks like complete bird shit, but I'll clean it up with my die grinder. And once it's all painted and stuff, and this piece is on there, you won't even see it. And it's solid, I guess. It's there. It's not like structural or anything like that. So, you know what? The only way you're gonna learn is by practicing. And I guess I may as well practice on my own stuff. Ew. Whatever. Move on to the next thing. So yeah, we gotta clean these up again, and I'm gonna paint them, and then start throwing everything together. The valve cover is nice and dry now. I painted them in that bronze color I really like, because that's what the theme is kind of going to be for the engine bay. This is the rest of the catch can system. It's just one of these inexpensive ones you can get on eBay or Amazon, around $30 if I'm not mistaken. It's got 10AN bungs already welded onto it, and like I said, it's going to vent to atmosphere, so one's for one. So that's why I did that setup. And then I've got 4 10AN 90-degree fittings with some line, 10AN line, 10 foot of it. And then these come with like these twisty drains or whatever. I don't really like those, so I'm gonna put a ball valve one on there. And then this is like a 6AN line, I believe, or just whatever, 3/8 line. I'm gonna put that out to an easy access drain. So I'll just open it up so I don't have to take the catch can off or try to have to struggle with draining it with this all the time. I don't know, I prefer this. So yeah, now we're gonna tear everything off the truck and then put it all onto this stuff and start assembly. Got it all tore apart. And look at how freaking clean inside of there is. Like zero sludge. This truck has 140,000 miles on it. And that is just freaking amazing. Both sides. Like what? I got freaking lucky. And even the inside of the valve covers here, like nothing. Like usually when you tear these things apart, they're just like caked full of garbage, but that looks so good. Honestly, very surprised, very happy with that. But now that we have it all tore apart, I'm gonna take these coils off and put them on the new ICT brackets and prepare them for the new valve covers. Obviously I got to clean them up a little bit first. And then I also want to kind of reroute some of the wiring on this thing just to kind of make it look a little less clustered, like move the injector wiring up inside here. Some of this wiring in here kind of compact it a little bit more. So that's what I'm working on right now. And maybe even, I might even take the intake manifold off just to clean it up a little bit better, even though it's not staying. But another thing too, I had to take off, this is where one of the ports are for the old, the way the old crankcase ventilation system went. It went on to that bung that was on the stock cover and then came up into here. So we got to cover that up somehow, plate that off. So I got to work on something for that. But yeah, nice. So as you can see, I got the intake manifold off just to give it a nice deep cleaning. But this is the whole idea behind a catch can system. Like all it does is blow that crap all back inside the intake into your exhaust or like into your cylinders. Like that's bad. That's a really, really dumb design. So we're gonna just clean this up, throw it back on, install that catch can, and hopefully avoid all this again. And then hopefully the LSA will never see any of those crankcase pressure vapors inside of it. With the intake manifold all cleaned up, I got to plug this hole here because this used to be where the driver's side valve cover gas is vented back into. And because we're not going to use that, obviously we've got to plug it. So I took what was there was this, where's the other end of it? The piece that went in there. I basically cut it off flush. And it just so happens to be almost a perfect size for 1/4-inch NPT plug. So I'm going to tap it very carefully with a 1/4-inch NPT tap, put a little silicone on there, then plug that off, and put it right back in that hole. There we go. Very easy. I'd actually put a little bit of thread compound sealer on there in order to seal that up. But you could also like run a vacuum hose to that if you wanted to run like a vacuum gauge or a boost gauge if you're running a turbo off something like this. Just keep that in mind. But that was easy. But we also have another one to do on the intake side because the passenger side vent went to the beginning of the intake. So just do the same thing there. Intake manifold's back on and rerouted a bunch of the wiring, especially the injector wiring, behind the fuel rails itself, which really kind of opens up the valve covers to actually kind of show them off a little bit, which I like. And then the heater hoses, I just kind of connected up with some hose clamps onto some other hoses just to get them out of the way. So then again, it exposes the valve cover a lot better. So now we just got to work on the coil packs themselves. I'm going to clean these up and then get them on these ICT brackets and then reroute some of these because I want where they plug in to be more on the back side here, just so that more of that wiring is out of the way. Fail. So I guess when I ordered these coil brackets on Amazon, it listed these coil packs would fit on here, like 510C, I believe that's what these ones are. But then they don't. Like they hit here before they can even get completely bolted down. But they do make a spacer kit to space them up so that that's not an issue. So I just ordered that, but it's going to be a couple days before I get it. So that just blows. So side note, if you order these and you have these, you got to spend another $13 to get the spacer kit to make it all work. So I moved on to plumbing up the catch can. As you can see, I got it mounted here. I just made like an L bracket off of the brake booster itself, put some riv nuts in the backside of that, and then that holds it nice and sturdy. So now I'm just kind of mocking up like how I want the lines to run. Obviously this one, I'm gonna run back along the side, then come back up front here, and that one on the bottom to this one. So just gotta make these lines up real quick, and then that should take care of that. So when I went through and ordered the parts that I needed online in order to get the coils all straightened out, it turns out that they make an LS oil fill cap that's billet with a 10AN bung already on it. So it's like, well, that's going to be a lot easier if I just clean up the factory one with the oil fill cap on it and then use it that way. So I don't have to like worry about taking the valve cover on and off every single time I want to change the oil. That would get real old real quick. So that's what I opted to do. Clean this thing up, painted it. Now I'm just going to swap it out for the other one. Then when that new oil fill cap comes, I'll just put the line on top of it. So while I'm waiting for those parts to be shipped to me, I need some TIG welding practice. And the best way to do that, I'm going to build my own custom cold air intake or intake system. It's not really a cold air intake, but it's just something to give me the practice that I need. I'm going to do pie cuts on this 4-inch piece of pipe. And then once that's all established, kind of make it, well, let's see here. So I want to make it come off of here, kind of snake around and back into this area here with the filter pod right there. And then for the mass airflow sensor that's right there, ICT makes these really killer little relocation brackets or whatever. They make them for like 3-inch pipe and 4-inch pipe. Got the 4-inch pipe one, obviously, because the 4-inch one. Then once the pipe is all laid out where it needs to be, we can figure out where this needs to go in terms of getting the best reading off of that, because I know those things are like really sensitive. So yeah, let's mark our center lines and start doing some pie cuts, start laying it all out. Sorry about the wind, but to be totally clear, this is not a how-to video whatsoever. I have never attempted this before. This is my first try, and I bought this saw specifically to do stuff like this because I have intercooler piping and stuff to do on my Turbo Malibu. I want to be able to do it all myself, but I have it set up for a 9-degree cut. It's nice and easy to set up this way, and then I've got 2 inches marked on the clamp here, and then all I have to do is line up my lines, because I got 2 on each side every time, and then make a cut. So I make a cut, turn it, make a cut, turn it, make a cut, turn it, and that will give me my pie cuts that I need. And then I also have to figure out my length of how far off the blade I need in order to get the right angled curve that I want, that I'm going for, if that all makes sense. There's tons of how-to videos out there on YouTube. I've been doing nothing but watching them, so I'm just trying to retain it all in my brain and read up on my notes in order to make this possible. So this is my attempt. You've been warned. So if you do some quick math on that, with a 9-degree cut times 2, because it's side, it's 18 times 5 equals 90. So 5 of these should give me a 90-degree angle if stacked right. But I mean, obviously I got to clock them a little bit. So I actually cut 2 extra just in case. I know I'm going to need them for the little bit of the snaking motion, but this should give me a good start, and I can start mocking it up, taping it together, and then marking out my lines to see where it goes from there, and then I will start tacking it up. So I apologize for not really filming a lot of that. I was really concentrating on what I was doing because obviously I didn't really know what I was doing. First attempt at this. But yeah, I really like the way this looks. It's turned out really awesome. Obviously it's all tacked together at the moment, and I got to build a support bracket on the bottom of here to go down there to just tie it all in together. And then where the mass airflow sensor goes it's going to be right about there. But now I got to just clean this really, really well and then start finish welding it. I'm going to start on the back side, so then hopefully I can get really comfortable and really good. Well, not really good, but good enough. And then I'll do these front sides where you can see, so that those will be hopefully a little bit prettier. Sorry for not filming that again, but I got it all welded up. There was a lot of concentrating, a lot of, well, you know, I've never done anything that large before in my life, and I think it turned out freaking awesome. Look at that. Yeah, I just scuffed it up with some Scotch-Brite. Ultimately, I'm on a paint like a textured black, but this just looks killer. Very nice. Working on the wiring here a little bit because I have to move where the sensor was here over to here. And as you can see, I already got it a bunch of the loom off. And this is just giving me plenty of wire now all the way over. So you can only go as far back as this section here because it's got a bunch of grounds that all attached to each other. So now I'm just gonna wrap this all back up and just neatly hide it all in there in order to plug it in on this side. Once I get the LSA in here, I'm gonna actually pull the entire wiring harness out and then redo it to each individual spot, make it a lot cleaner. Amazon literally just showed up. I got my little spacer kit there for the coil brackets. I got my new oil fill cap with a 10AN fitting in order to run to the catch can. And I got some extension harnesses just in case I need them. And over here on the coil pack side, I rewired them in order to be a little bit cleaner. Took all that old tape off because after a while that gets crusty and it just kind of falls apart on itself. So yeah, got that all straightened up. Now all we gotta do is just throw it all together and then we can wrap this section up. Well, it seems to be running fine now that I have it on the road. I was really worried about where I placed that mass airflow sensor, but it seems to be good to me. Yep. If you made it this far on the video, I really appreciate it. Please hit that subscribe button. We got a lot more coming up with this truck. It's going to be fun. Thanks, guys. See you later. What if it'll still do burnouts?